Hello and welcome to another episode of Fleetcast, and I'm joined by Endy, and we are reviewing the animated series again. Um, how are you doing, Endy?
I'm doing okay, thank you. How are
Yeah,
you doing?
not bad. Busy week. Busy week.
Yeah, no, definitely a busy week.
Yes,
Um, though at least this time I won't confuse Vendorians for vendors.
there is that. Yes, there is that. But yeah, no, this is a bit busy week. Obviously, this goes out after Easter, but I'm gearing up for Easter. Like we only have like 4 school days left, and it's just a bit
Oh yeah,
busy. I'm looking forward to the 2 weeks where I've not got any after school activities and stuff, so that'll be nice.
yes. Spring break is absolutely wanted and desired.
Yes, oh so
and I
much.
and
Yes.
I can tell you from someone who's been a teacher, the teachers need it too.
Yes, and I do not blame them whatsoever for needing that 2 week break because I
Yeah.
could not be a teacher. I very much so. Anyone who homeschools their teacher, mwah, you have got my absolute love because
Yes,
I I couldn't do it. Just doing
absolutely.
homework sometimes is hard enough. But yes,
Yeah.
we are on episode 9 and 10 now, aren't we?
We are. We're
We
we're
are.
getting there.
Yes, we are over halfway through the first series, which is
Yep.
sad because we're getting closer and closer to the end, and I don't think I'm prepared for.
No, it's one
Yeah.
of those like emotional moments where, but it should be so much better.
Yes. So this week's episodes that we are reviewing are obviously 9 and 10, which is Once Upon a Planet and Mud's Passion. So
Yes,
going into
this is
this,
the week of sequels.
yes, this is the week of sequels, which is ironic because I have seen neither of the ones that came before. I'm like, absolutely, I'm going in blind, which was really interesting. Obviously, I knew about Mud because I've seen him in Discovery,
Mhm.
which you haven't.
Right, but I have seen both of the TOS episodes
Yes,
and read the novels,
yeah,
and yes,
yeah. So you've
and
done
I
that.
love the character.
Yes. I really like Mud's character. He's hilarious. And I loved him in Discovery.
See, I don't like him when he's just hilarious. I like him as he is when we get to the episode because there's a lot more to him than comedy.
I've just realised I have seen him in the original series. I'm sat here going, I
Mhm.
know I've seen him. I've seen him in the triple episode.
No,
Is that not him?
no, that's the point. That's why Cyrano Jones was there.
Cyrano Jones. Oh, it's not Mud. I thought they were the same character.
Right.
So
No, they okay. When Tribbles was written first,
yeah,
it was going to be Mud, but Roger Carmel was, I forget whether he was ill at the time or whether he was otherwise engaged. I want to say ill, but I'm not certain.
right.
Yes, Endy is admitting something that he doesn't know.
It happens to the
Please, the
best of
world is
us.
coming to an end. Uh but he was either ill or otherwise engaged at the time, and therefore was not available.
Right.
So
Okay.
instead of getting Roger Carmel, who is absolutely, you know, a charismatic powerhouse of an actor, they also they got what where is he? I got his I had his name in here. He's literally in here and I don't remember.
That's okay. But yeah, no,
Um
I think I was merging the two characters, so that now makes a little bit sense.
yeah. Oh, it's Stanley Adams was Cyrano Jones.
Yes.
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 So yes, so yeah, Cyrano Jones is a trader,
Yes.
not Traitor trader like as in merchant, who sells spick and flame gems and tribbles
Yes. Yes. I
and
was
Sologlam,
I was merging
where
the two characters.
Mud is the master of criminal activity.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we'll get into him in a bit, but let's
Yes.
go first to Once Upon a Planet, which
Yes.
is the sequel to Theodore Sturgeon's episode Shore Leave.
Yes.
We are returning to reasonable star dates again, thank you. 5591.2.
Yes, yes.
I'm sorry.
I
It
don't,
is
I
such
don't,
a
I
pet
don't do
peeve.
star dates, but yes, very much. But this episode, what I quite liked is when I was doing a little bit of research about it.
Yes.
This episode was noted that for the actress Nichelle Nichols,
Oh,
she actually
yes.
this was her eighth best scene that she loved as the character she played.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
know that, and I
absolutely.
I really like the fact that she actually it was an animated episode that she liked, and how
Yeah.
that was one that she
Well,
noted, because they could have
this
ignored
is
it, and it's just good. I like it.
this is definitely one where it is such an Uhura episode, and I love it for that.
Yes.
Because even though getting ahead of ourselves, Uhura does become a bit of a damsel in distress.
Yes.
She's not a she's not.
Yeah,
She is
it's
actively arguing. She is
yeah.
actively doing the Starfleet thing, and I love her for it.
Yes. So this episode starts with the Enterprise crew revisiting a fondly remembered amusement planet, which I
Yes.
absolutely love. Obviously, not having seen the original series episode, I really love this concept that it's an amusement planet.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, what I find quite funny is just how there's only three of them beaming down. I was a bit
Well,
like,
this is to test the waters,
okay,
and in fact, it's the team that beamed down first in the previous
okay,
episode,
yes,
which is why they comment when they get to the shore leave planet that it looks like they beamed down in the exact same place as the last time.
okay,
In fact, there's probably a reason for that because Filmation did seemingly draw over some of the original film, which
yes.
I have no problem with.
No,
When it's good stuff, why not reuse it, right?
yes, but within
Um,
within seconds of obviously them getting to this planet, they meet, which is possibly one of my favorite parts of this episode. They meet Alice in Wonderland characters, which
well, be, and that's actually a reference to the original episode. In fact, it gets commented on in dialogue that when they originally beamed down to the Shoreleaf planet, which is now its official name, even though that really shouldn't be its official name,
yeah,
but
yeah,
that's its official name. It's the Shoreleaf
it's
planet.
the Shorely planet.
Um, Dr. McCoy commented on feeling like Alice in Wonderland
Yes, and then literally
on the planet.
the
And
rabbit and
then you
Alice
get
run
the
by.
white rabbit, and
Yes,
then Alice.
yes. And then obviously they split up, and I like this
Right.
part when they split up because obviously you have Bones who goes off to what looks like a very Southern
Oh,
American massive
yeah,
mansion. Um,
exactly.
you've got Yahora who goes, she just sits there and she's singing by the lake. And I know you haven't seen this episode, but I love the fact that the creators of Strange New Worlds played
Mhm.
into that, because she
Good.
is an amazing singer in Strange New Worlds.
Oh, absolutely. She's
Yes,
also a great singer in the original series. She sings on like three occasions.
yeah,
She also sort of did this same sort of humming, singing thing, though a little bit lower pitched in Star Trek Five. Um, oh yeah, they played into the fact that Nichelle Nichols was a good singer
yeah, yeah.
and had
And
a beautiful voice.
I really
If
just
anything,
love it.
the the thing I wish is that I wish they kind of hadn't tuned it a little bit.
Mm, it's a little
Because
bit more natural.
this does bring her speech and well, not her speech, her singing up by like an octave or two, and that
Yeah,
gets into a range that
it's
makes
not
me go,
comfortable.
"Oh no, is my tinnitus about to fire off?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can understand that. And then obviously,
Mhm.
the other character, which was
Well, Sulu was
Sulu.
walking around as well.
Yeah, Sulu's just walking
Yep.
around. But he listens to the singing, and I'm just like, and he just
Yeah.
gives a little smile. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
Both him and Bones are just like Uhura's happy, I'm happy,
yeah.
all is well in the galaxy.
And then
And then it goes bad.
the
Off with his head.
Queen of Hearts appears, which I absolutely just love because it was just so funny. It was very
Yes.
typical of the animation at the time to
Yes.
make the characters like this. Um, and
And
obviously, Bones gets injured, and then they try and do an emergency transport back to the ship, but only two of them make it back.
yeah.
And Uhura gets captured, which yes, which annoyed me ever so slightly, just ever so slightly at this point,
Yeah.
because I was like,
Not
why?
that she didn't put up a fight.
Yes. I'm like,
This is
why is she the damsel in distress? Why is not one of the other characters the damsel in distress?
because she also gets to be the focus of the episode by
Yeah,
doing that.
yes,
And that's what makes this great.
yes. But at
She
that,
does fight, and she does end up trapped underground.
yes, yes, she does end up trapped. And obviously on the planet, they're obviously a bit confused about what's going on, and they're trying to
Mhm.
obviously scan the planet, and the computer that is on the planet starts to manipulate the Enterprise's computer, which I
Mhm.
really was like, oh, that's different. That is definitely a different
Well,
one.
it's. I wish it was different. I wish it was more different, in fact, because how often are we going to see going into next generation
Yes, we do see it
alien
quite a
computer?
lot. Yeah,
you know,
we
I
do
mean,
see
so
it quite
that's
a
the
lot there.
problem.
Yeah, but I liked it.
Yeah,
And then obviously
it was well written.
they go back to the planet, and they find the grave of the caretaker.
Yes, worst missed opportunity for a he's dead Jim
Yes,
ever. They
yes,
they
ever so
almost
slightly.
get it. They almost get it, but then they cheap out right at the last second on
Yes,
us.
ever so
And
slightly
I'm
cheap
sitting there
out.
going, he's dead, Jim. He's dead, Jim. No, they don't even say it.
Yes,
No,
yes. So they do kind
but
of ever so slightly cheap out on the on that. We could have had a moment, but no, they did very much cheap out.
mhm.
Yes, and then obviously, this episode then kind of splits into two different scenes. Well, three different scenes because obviously you've
Yeah,
got Uhura who is speaking to the computer, you've got Spock, McCoy, and Kirk on the planet, and then you've got the people that are left on the ship. And I
mhm.
really like what happens on the ship. I'm actually more interested in
Yes.
what happens there than on the planet while I was watching it because we had
Okay, I
such.
can see that because of one small detail.
Okay.
After everything starts going bad, what do? They finally have seatbelts.
Yes, I really like the fact that they have
It's
seatbelts,
like
and I'm going to
you've
bring
got.
it up. I'm going to
I mean,
bring it up.
this series is very belt centric.
Yes,
Life belts, seat
yes,
belts.
yes.
We
It is
should have
very.
more of these things.
Yes, but I kind of feel like they don't then go around to seatbelts until like the end of, is it Nemesis?
Yeah.
We don't get seatbelts until then, and I do not understand why Starfleet does not put seatbelts in their ships. It makes sense.
I,
But yes, the reason why they have seatbelts is because the computer on the planet is now taking over the computer on the Enterprise, and they lose gravity. And what I prefer about these scenes that are on the Enterprise is the fact that we get great character development for Scotty,
yep.
and the other two officers, the Katian and what's the other?
Maress and Arix. Yep.
Yes, we get some really good character development for both of them, and
Yeah.
I don't think we've not really had that properly until now. and I really, really
I,
like it.
I'm inclined to agree with you.
Yes.
Um, I like the fact that, you know, while obviously on the ship, Scott is the one who is sort of leading the charge,
Yeah,
Alex and Maress hold the bridge down.
they really do, and
And
I like
Eric's literally with the belts.
I
But
just love
yes,
it. I really this is I
yes.
think I prefer this part and that's having that character development with those characters,
Hmm.
especially because we do not see either of those species pretty much anywhere else.
Not actively, I believe.
I think
Okay, I believe.
we see it in lower decks with the chief medical officer being Catian.
Right.
But
Well,
I
there is like I said, there is occasion in
it's one
in
of the
Star Trek
movies.
6,
Yeah.
and I believe in that same scene at the Federation Council, um, there's also one of Arix's race.
Okay.
I
I might have to look
Yeah,
around for it.
yeah,
But I
the
do
the
really like,
Idosians, yeah.
yeah, I really do like the original series and the animated series for
Mhm.
how many different species they use. I feel very
Yes,
much like Trek after this point focuses purely on Vulcans, Betazoids, Andorians, humans. We do not see as much of
yeah.
other species as we see
Well,
in what, from my opinion, from what I've seen of
mhm.
the animated series and the original series.
Okay. The thing is, Westmore put more of his efforts in design into, let's say, one-off aliens rather than Starfleet aliens after a while.
Yeah,
So you don't get as many side characters
yeah,
in TNG. And also, because of when TNG launched and how things were for extras and script
yeah,
writers and just the amount of money that went into making TNG, DS9, and Voyager, yeah, it became
yeah,
human centric because
budget.
you can't afford to pay. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can't afford
budget.
to pay an extra
Hmm.
who's going to have no speaking lines
Yeah,
for 8 hours in makeup.
yeah. I get it,
Right?
but I feel like it's a lot of wasted potential.
It
Don't get me
is.
wrong, thinking about it, I think Voyager probably is the best one out of the bunch. And
Mm-hmm.
I know obviously you haven't seen Discovery, but Discovery does a very good job of
Okay.
exploring other races because obviously we have Saru, and
Yeah.
the absolutely amazing actor of his, who must spend days and days and days and days in costume, to give us
Oh yeah.
the amazing character of Saru. But yeah, no, I
Yes.
just feel very much like we don't see this going forward. Like
Yeah. The diversity.
I made a character on SS Mary Rose, which is one of Volis species.
Okay.
They're um purple species with pink hair that we see in the original series.
Okay. Yeah.
I will put a
Yeah.
picture up of her 2 seconds because
Yep.
I don't know who made me. I think it was Emu from Avalon that's
Yeah.
made me this species. But there you go. I'll pop it
And
on.
Emu is definitely a great guy and a great artist. So
Yes,
absolutely.
he's made me this, but obviously everyone else can see it. But it was
Hmm.
just purely because of the research that I was doing for this that
Hmm.
so I've now broken myself. Um, that I found this species and I was like, oh, I really like
Yeah.
that. I'm gonna use that.
Good
Um,
idea.
so yeah, so it's I think the series that we're looking at and obviously the original series have given us so much fuel, and
Oh
I've
yeah.
actually I've got a deal for you. Okay.
Go for it.
After this is done, after we've done the original
Yes.
series, would you like to go back and watch the original series with me?
I would love to.
Yes,
I would
cool.
love to watch the original series with you,
Ooh.
good and bad, up
Yes,
and down.
I would like to go back and watch it
Because
properly, not just
I
what the
think
fleet chose for me. I want to
exactly.
go back and watch all of it.
I think yeah, and I think that's the right way to do it
Yeah,
because there are ups and downs,
yes,
and
I think I've got
I
to.
think you, I think taking what you've found now from the animated series and applying that back to the original series, you may reevaluate certain characters.
I might do. I might do. But
But
yes, getting back
um,
to this
now
episode.
getting back to the episode, because the problem is the reason why we can go off on these tangents with this episode is because there isn't so much to talk about.
There isn't.
Unfortunately,
No, there isn't. But
it's
I do want to talk about what happens on the planet with Kirk, McCoy, and Spock because
right.
guess what
Well,
we had come back again.
a
Purple
quick
pterodactyls.
yes, the purple pterodactyls are back, and I do want to comment on something because this is one where you wouldn't know it exactly. They do comment on it briefly, but
Do
in the
they?
original short leave episode,
Yeah,
McCoy was injured,
yeah,
okay, and was taken by the caretaker and the machines. Notice the machines, not a computer,
yes,
okay, at that point in time, but obviously they're allowed to refine their concept.
yeah,
That's fine. But McCoy was taken underground into some kind of facility and was healed,
yeah.
and then appeared with two dancing girls, one on each arm. But hey, you know,
Okay.
it's the '60s. Uh, so yes, that's how he, you know, he knows that there is an underground chamber. They
Yeah,
all do, and the only way to get in there is to activate the automatic process by which the planet's computer system uh, drags people in,
yeah, yeah,
namely
yeah.
when they're injured. So he nails Spock in the arm with a hypo spray,
Yes.
and I swear I almost wanted to put this image in, but I think I will just leave it so that everyone else can go see because I want to leave this little
Yeah.
tidbit because for just a few moments we get Simpson Spock.
Yes. And I think it's intriguing that they used Spock as this character for this
Mm-hmm.
ruse because they could have used Kirk, they could have used McCoy, but they chose
Mm-hmm.
Spock. Um,
Yep.
and we don't often see him as that type of character that's used in that way. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
and obviously the episode carries on with them um managing to get into the cavern below,
Yep.
and obviously learning that this computer, um,
Has everything backwards,
yes,
basically.
and obviously it's a very angry computer.
Yeah.
But I actually have to give Kirk credit in this scene because he very much acts how other people I feel very much view him because obviously he
Mm-hmm.
persuades the computer that its notion of servitude is very simplistic and backwards by revealing that
Yes.
obviously contrary to his its assumptions, they are not slaves to the enterprise. um,
Right.
and obviously he convinces the computer that the best course is to resume business as usual, as it will be
Yeah.
rewarded with social contact by the
Mm-hmm.
guests that they can attract. And I love that the fact that Spock. This part just made me have a little laugh.
That Spock volunteers to talk with a computer.
Yes, and he's like, it will be. What was it? He says he goes,
It will be an honor.
it'll be an honor, or I
Yeah.
thought I thought maybe it was fascinating, but it was
Yeah,
just
you're
it
right.
was
It's yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it
it
is.
was just
It'll be
the way
fascinating.
that it was done, and I was like, oh,
Yes.
that's such a good way. I feel very
Yeah.
satisfied with how a lot of these episodes are ending.
Yes. Oh, the endings. They nail the endings,
Yeah,
and I think that's honestly, in a lot of ways, this episode and a couple of them, because this one was not so much written by Trek authors
yes,
or Trek writers. It was written by people who do cartoons.
hmm
Um, they know that to hold their audience. In this case, we're talking, I would say, we're talking 8 to 18 demographic that it's being written toward.
Yeah.
Because it's a pretty wide demo for this show. In fact,
Yeah,
it goes into the adult.
yeah, I feel
Um,
very much it's a lot wider. It's not just aimed at
yeah,
kids, maybe. Um,
exactly. But
but yeah,
they still write with the same kind of hit the beat style.
yeah, yeah,
And the thing that I actually love, with Uhura and the Machine, more importantly than the others, um, when Uhura is discussing slavery and servitude and so on, you can hear the trepidation in her voice.
yeah,
You can hear that more than Kurt. Well, let's be real. More than Shatner, more than Nimoy, more than Kelly.
yeah.
Nichols and Takai understood these things,
Yes, yes,
having had some pretty up uh, background
yeah,
stuff, and they played into it, and that's part of why, later on she reported that she loved doing this episode,
yeah,
because not only did it allow her to be the one who talked the computer to death. I mean, yes, Kirk comes in at the end and
yeah.
saves her, but
But she's the warm up artist. She's been doing all the work.
exactly, exactly. And the fact that she gets to discuss these things
Yeah,
that are important,
yeah,
I like that. And um, one more thing, again, this is, leaning toward where we're going in 4 years in real time from here.
yeah,
Uh, that this computer thinks that the Enterprise is the important thing, and
yeah,
the crew are just whatever. We're getting back to V'ger and the carbon units thing from the movie.
yeah,
So we're getting into that as well, which I find interesting.
yeah,
Um, Unfortunately, I wish there were more to say other than I love how much Uhura does. I love that this is an Uhura episode, but it's too by the numbers. We
yeah,
have the pterodactyls, we have the cat, we have
yeah,
Simpson Spock suddenly. We
yeah.
have a few little highlights, and we have a great ending.
It
But
feels very much like it is the filler episode of what we've seen so
yes,
far. But
that's the problem.
what's your
It's
score
it
for it?
is the filler episode. Hmm? My score is 2 white rabbits out of 5.
See, I didn't do White Rabbits because I couldn't find a decent image. My
Okay.
score is Uhura because I think she's amazing and
Oh, absolutely. Okay, then
she's probably going to be the
100%.
score system for a lot of them because I think she
She
does
is, yes. 2 Uhuras out of 5. I am 100% behind that. Uhura herself, 5 out of 5.
have. Yes, so
Um,
I've given it a 3.
yep.
Because though it was a filler episode, I liked it more than some episodes that I've seen.
Hmm.
It did have moments where I was like, oh, I really like this. I really like the character
Yeah.
development. And it gets it because of, the development that we've seen of the bridge crew on in this episode. So yes.
Yeah.
So it
Absolutely. I get that.
yeah.
I'm with you there. All right. But yeah,
So
it was a good episode. It needed more.
yeah,
It needs more meat on the bone.
yeah. But I do think that very much that it was the filler episode of this what we've seen so far, which is
Yeah.
not a bad thing. It's very much not a bad
No,
thing.
I mean, in some ways, this series needs that filler because, um, okay, we've got, we've had some pretty much all killer, no filler series so
Yeah,
far,
yeah,
um, which, great in some ways, but like, give us a minute.
yeah,
When the weakest episode is, you know, I mean, actually, I'm trying to find a weak episode before this, and the only one that comes to mind is like the Magics of Megas 2.
yeah. But I think
But
it was
but
very much
that's
on
not a filler
par.
episode because of like I said, the references that it was making.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that one's not a filler episode because it's the 20th anniversary of something, and it was important to CBS. And yes, so go watch it after you watch Shore Leave. It doesn't make as much sense if you don't watch Shore Leave first, I'll admit, but it's fine to watch.
Yeah, it was a good episode. It wasn't
Okay.
bad. I didn't feel like I missed anything by not having watched the original episode
Okay.
because I thought that they've made it very, very clear that they had been there previously.
Yep.
Um, and they
Now,
and they explained what happened in that episode. So as a first
yep.
time watcher, yeah, I think it was a good episode, and
Yeah.
it's I'm finding the animated series, though it does have connections to the original series, it's very much a series that you could just jump into, which is nice. You know, I
I mean, yeah. Up until literally these two episodes, and maybe more troubles, more troubles. I would
yeah,
agree with you
yeah,
because
I don't think it's a bad thing that you don't have to necessarily watch the other ones.
agreed.
It's very easy viewing. But yes, shall
Yes.
we get into
And let's get to the meat of this episode.
yes,
Oh boy.
Mud's
Okay.
passion?
Mud's passion.
Or should we
Okay.
say Endy's passion as well? Because you are very
Oh
passionate
God,
about
yeah. Oh yes.
you are very
I
passionate about
love
this.
this episode. I love the Mud character.
Yeah.
Um Now I do want to highlight something here.
Okay.
Uh like actually it's three little things. It's all my little factoids.
Okay.
Um let's start with Mud's Women, early episode of next of the original series. Uh Stardate 1329.8, written by Gene Roddenberry. I Mud, uh, late season episode.
Yeah.
Stardate 4513.3, written by Stephen Candell. Mud's Passion, Stardate 4978.5, also written by Stephen Candell. So,
Okay.
roughly speak, so this is the timeline works,
Yeah.
and it's written by the same guy who wrote our last Mud episode.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's someone who has a grasp on the character.
Yeah.
It's Roger C. Carmel coming back, who, obviously charisma out the wazoo.
Yes.
And my big highlight note right at the beginning, Mud's a villain again.
Yes. I'm just literally going to pop up a picture of Mud in the original series so people can see
Yes,
kind of
absolutely.
how well this animation was done because
Yes,
it's so good and I really like this. So
yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Mud is actually the only guest character to appear twice in the original series,
Okay.
which is great. Um, and he definitely, he acts as a great foil to the Enterprise crew.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I think everybody loves about him.
Yeah.
Um, Now, also, funny thing
Okay.
for, I guess, mostly for American viewers, but I don't know if this ever like penetrated across the Atlantic Ocean here. You know who Smokey the Bear is, right?
Vaguely.
Smokey the Bear was a uh, National Forestry Service of the U.S. program telling both kids and adults only you can prevent forest fires. And Roger C. Carmel was the original voice of
Okay.
Smokey the Bear. So I just say that's a result of Mud's Federation Community Service.
Okay. I'm gonna
Uh,
quickly find an image of Smokey the Bear so that anyone who doesn't know this will
isn't familiar. Yep.
yeah.
Yes. Uh, he's absolutely a great character. And we open this episode with honestly just this is a strong dialogue episode. It's really just a strong episode altogether. And the dialogue is very well written. Where Spock predicts and 83.15% chance that Mud is on the planet below.
Yeah.
McCoy, of course, being his normal snarky self, says, "Why don't you just say Mud's probably down there?"
Yeah, yeah. It was very
I
much a
just
moment
did
where I was like,
that.
oh yeah, that could definitely, happen.
Yes. And now, while you are sometimes annoyed about McCoy hanging out on the bridge, that's why he's needed,
Yeah,
because he can be that comedic counterpoint.
yeah.
Um, and again, continuing the strong dialogue, as soon as Kirk and Spock beam down, "My dear Captain Kirk
Yes.
and the ineluctable Mr. Spock."
Yes. I was like,
You know,
oh, here he is.
it's like, oh boy,
Yes.
you know. Um, and Spock really is not playing around when he starts shooting.
No, not at all. He
Now,
very much isn't.
that seductive woman who isn't a woman, she's really a lizard in disguise.
Yes.
Uh, you know, is actually a highlight of one thing that makes me wish there was a little bit more budget and a little bit more development that went into this series, or that they had given Nichelle more room,
Hmm.
because this is a one woman episode.
Yes.
And that's what annoys me, because that seductive woman with her tone sounds exactly like Nurse Chapel, who sounds slightly different from Morass,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And that, okay, is it a strength of animation that one actor can play more than one role? Yes, because nobody would confuse Scotty and Alex,
No.
for instance.
No.
But the three roles that Majel plays in this episode,
They're very similar.
other than Morass, can you tell them apart?
Not really.
Right?
Not
And
really.
it gets frustrating to me.
Yeah.
And I
I
wish,
didn't
like,
notice it until this episode because obviously,
oh, yeah, I noticed it back in the Lorelei signal, actually.
yeah. See, I didn't, but I very much noticed it in this episode, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can find that it did frustrate me ever so slightly, especially because we see both characters so much in this episode.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly. We see Morass, we see Chapel, and we really, you know, and the thing is, this is a strong episode for Chapel, and yet it's also her weakest moment.
yes.
Now, one thing I actually want to get ahead of, because this is an episode about love and so on, and about, well, lust as well. Um, where the survivor had all the red flags in the world. It had more red flags than a semaphore display.
I forgot
Uh,
my flags. To be fair, I've left them in the other room.
but I don't feel this episode is as bad, because
It's not as bad, but
because of Mud.
mm,
And it's strictly down to Mud, because, and it's also down to the characters being, because here's the thing, this is earned, you know, where Ann Norrid was a new character who came on and got abused.
yeah,
We've seen Chapel be stupid about love
yeah,
in What Are Little Girls Made Of. We've seen her with her crush on Spock in Amok Time and other episodes. And we know that Harry Mudd is a pimp, a swindler, a raconteur,
yeah,
a thief. Uh,
yeah.
should I go on?
Yes. I
So
find
it's
I
it's
find
very much earned.
yeah, this episode doesn't have as many red flags, but it does have a couple that really bug me ever so slightly.
Okay.
But yes, getting into this episode, obviously Mud basically gets called out on the mining planets for the fact
Yep.
that he
Motherload. Yep.
yes, Motherload. And the
Which
miners of
shows up in a
Motherload.
novel or two later,
Yes.
by the way.
Obviously the miners of Motherlode basically try and attack him, so he kind of decides to with the Enterprise.
Because of his love. Well, hold on. We didn't get into why they attack him. It's
Yes,
because of the love
the
crystals.
love crystals, which yes, I have a lot of issues with the fact that they are using
See,
love crystals. Um,
I don't mind it because his first appearance was selling the Venus drug.
okay,
So it's a whole thing.
yeah, no,
When
so
you see Mud's
it's an
women,
area.
you will understand where this episode is kind of
Yeah,
pulling for Mud.
yes,
Um so what he's doing, he's selling these crystals, and yes, when Kirk and Spock uh highlight his obvious swindle,
yes,
um the miners turn on him,
yeah,
start throwing rocks
yeah,
because Kirk and Spock have come to arrest him
yes.
since they should have left him on the robot planet.
Yes, and obviously he surrenders himself to them and
Yes.
they go back onto the ship. And this part actually made me laugh because they go through the robot planet and how he obviously
Yes.
escaped by stealing a ship. But
Of
then they go on
course.
to the fact that he went to another planet and basically tried
Yep.
to sell that planet Starfleet Academy, which had me
Yep.
chuckling
You
all
stole them
evening.
the Starfleet Space Academy.
I
You
was
know,
like,
I
how
acquired a ship. You
how did
stole us.
yeah, I was
Hmm?
like, how did this planet not think to check that
They had never had contact with Starfleet yet.
yeah, it was just I was
This is
like,
the frontier. Also, realize Mud is, you know, supernaturally charismatic.
yes,
And the thing is, it comes through. Like the fact that you say Mud's passion and I light up,
yeah,
right? Should tell you just how charismatic this character is.
yeah.
And the thing is, he's a con man. He is the
He very
classic
much is.
confidence man.
He really is.
And he is so endearing and yet so vile.
Yes,
And you'll love to hate him.
yes.
And yeah, he comes up with a story, and every time he comes out with a detail, Spock just nails him to the cross.
Yeah.
Like,
Spock
I
is very.
acquired a vessel for escape. You stole a starship.
He's very
You went
spicy in
here.
this episode. Very, very
Yes.
spicy, and I am here for it. I
Oh
like
yes.
spicy Spock. I
Yes.
like him. I
Now,
like him as a character. But yes,
yes.
obviously they're getting back on the
And
the
I love
Enterprise.
the break set. I love the break set that they use. And it's one of those things that makes me like love the animated series more than the original series, because a new set can be developed in hours or even days,
Yeah,
if at longest, and the camera can go anywhere
yeah,
in it. Because there's at one point where, if my dimensions are correct, the camera was inside the wall during the interrogation stuff,
yeah, yeah,
but we don't care because it's animation.
yeah,
It works. The
yeah,
camera can be there.
yeah.
Um, and notice that I'm saying the camera, because there is so much that is cinematic about this
Yeah, we've obviously
series.
discussed this every episode that
Yeah,
the
exactly.
how they do the camera work is genius
It
on this.
matters. Yep,
It's just it
yep.
really really matters, and it is very very good in
Yes,
how they make it look as if it was it's live action, but obviously it's not.
yes,
It's animation, but they've drawn it in such a way that it's
yep,
you forget that, and I did find myself
exactly.
over a couple of different episodes thinking, oh, it's actually a cartoon. It's not it's not live action. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I did forget that. But yeah,
yes,
so
and
obviously
I love that.
they get back to the
But
ship, and obviously Christina is looking over
oh,
Mud, and this is the part
yeah.
that really frustrates me. They leave.
Oh God, I have a literal note here for her when she is complimenting Spock,
Yeah,
and it's long, but
go ahead.
Chapel, please, for the love of the galaxy, stop flirting with Spock in front of the known pimp,
Yes,
swindler,
yes,
raconteur, and charismatic manipulative sociopath.
yes.
We all know without that very artistic aside to his changed facial expression, that Mud's just going to use that to get his hooks into you.
Yeah, and we've actually obviously got that image so that we can show to people.
Yes.
He has that moment where he's like, "Ooh, I know what to do here." And it's so frustrating. But I also find myself getting ever so slightly frustrated at Kirk and Spock. Why did they leave her with him?
Well, because she's the doctor
Yeah,
and they trust her.
yeah,
That's the thing.
I
They
just
they
don't
they
understand.
trust her. They don't. This is okay. This is one of the problems, and yet one of the things that makes this show good. At no point in time are any of the female officers, especially now after the Lorelei segment,
Hmm.
made to seem lesser
Yeah,
or, oh, we can't let Christine stand right near Mud.
but it's more the fact that there
Because,
is no other security. I'm like, but surely there would be other
but no,
security there.
no, the brig is sealed as long as she didn't open the freaking door. Oh, wait, we'll get there. But
Yes.
as long as she didn't open the door, he couldn't have gotten out. That was
Yeah,
her fault.
I was
But
ever so slightly frustrated because I was like, this makes no sense. This literally
yes,
makes no sense that
well, no,
obviously,
it's fine. She's the doctor. She has
yeah,
to. Well, not. She's not the doctor yet. She's still chief nurse.
yes.
But I'm sorry.
I
So she's
think
a mid-level.
it makes me more angry because I love her character so much
Yeah,
on Strange New Worlds.
I'm sure that the Strange New Worlds version is very different than the original series version because what we're seeing here is the original series.
Yeah,
Okay.
I find it ever so slightly frustrating because
Mm-hmm.
the Strange New Worlds character is just so good. You know, Jessica Bush, she plays the character
Mm-hmm.
so well. But yes,
Okay.
so we can
And
have.
probably very differently.
I
Now,
obviously we'll soon find out when
now,
we watch the
yep,
original series and that we get there.
yep,
But yeah,
absolutely.
I
Now,
find it frustrating, and then obviously
oh yeah, now,
she then takes the crystals from him, the love crystals.
well, yeah, but we should stop. We should take a quick detour to the bridge as the episode does.
Okay.
Because even though they're doing prisoner transport, I love that they're still scientists,
Yeah.
and seek out strange new worlds with
Yeah.
new life, new civilizations.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? A binary star with a Class M planet that they didn't know about.
Yeah.
Okay. It's new, it's interesting, it's standard thing. And you notice that Kirk and Spock, knowing actually Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and Scotty, knowing that Mud's in the brig, knowing he can be a pain in the rump, they don't think he's a problem enough to warrant not investigating this planet. Like we'll get there. We'll get him to jail
Yeah.
because we should. But he's fine in there. Whatever. you
Yes.
know, he can rot. but
Yes.
and that. But the problem is that of course gives Mud longer to scheme,
Mm-hmm. And
and
Steamy does.
scheme he absolutely does, because having gotten his hooks into Christine, oh boy.
Yes.
But again, this is where I go back to this is earned,
Yeah.
you know, where again, in some episodes, we're going to see some real red flags.
Yes.
This one's earned. We know that Mud is a villain and a pimp
Yeah.
and whatever, because we've seen him in 2 other episodes.
Yeah.
We've seen Chapel um, being into Spock. We even saw it in this series with the Lorelei thing,
Yeah.
where it's not totally unreciprocated.
Yes.
Okay. I don't think, my opinion has always been, my headcanon has always been that Spock does not love Christine Chapel, but he is fond of her. You know?
See, my head canon is obviously the Strange New Worlds, where we've seen them, and
Okay.
we've seen them together. They've had moments,
Ah,
and then she breaks up with him via song in the musical episode. It's
we'll see.
it's brilliant. It is brilliant.
Okay.
It is.
We will have
You
then
have to watch that.
after we watch TOS, I will have to find one of my ways to uh watch it.
Yes,
Because yes,
I think
I
please
put
do.
up the Enterprise from this series here. I don't have my Jolly Roger on the other side,
Yes,
but you all know it's branded on me.
yes,
So, but yeah, basically, we know that these are the things that will manipulate these characters,
yes,
and we know how they react. And Mud finally gets Christine
yes,
to quote unquote run an experiment
yes,
and passes the crystal to her and uses the fact that when the crystal liquid is rubbed on you, you kind of go a little faint.
yes.
And is there no criminal enterprise that this man isn't perfect at?
No,
Because if you notice in the screenshot, which should be coming up shortly, he's already pickpocketed her.
yes,
He's
and
got the phaser and he's got everything he needs to get off the ship.
yeah, he has pickpocketed her ID card, which I
Yep.
find absolutely
I,
hilarious that
I
we
love it.
have
And
ID
and
cards.
then yes, I love that they still have ID cards. And then what does he do? He just replaces the photo to forge it, and it's perfect.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah,
But yeah, but he pickpockets her. He gets her phaser and her ID
yeah.
because once she gets into a mood where she wants Spock, she wants Spock.
Yes, and she goes out in search of him, and this is where I have such a red flag and why I'm slightly ever so annoyed because she goes to the rec room and she sits on his lap. Like
Yes,
there
she just boop sits down on his lap.
in the open, in front of everybody, and I'm like,
Well, no, this is actually no. This is not the rec room
is it not?
because if you see his Vulcan lyre there and the 3D chess set,
See, I took
she's
it.
in his quarters.
Okay. I took it as the rec room. Just
Nope.
because I know that obviously they have the chess sets in the rec room, and
Yeah.
from where I've seen
But
him
no. But
playing, it's
yeah.
obviously in the rec room. But that would
No.
make
But
ever so slightly more sense.
yeah. This is his quarters. So imagine. Okay. The way that you have to read this then is she walks into his bedroom.
Yeah,
Actually, walks into his apartment, into his bedroom, and then just falls over him
yeah, which is just
conveniently.
such red flag behavior. And I wish I had my
I
red flag
mean, oh
to
no.
wave
Well, the
it.
problem is that she shows the red flag behavior here because
Yes.
the problem is she look. I believe there's a phrase from a few years ago that explains how Christine is with Spock, and that's not just in this episode; it's in general.
Hmm.
The term is horny on main.
Yeah, I could see it.
Okay, this woman wants something from Spock
Yes.
and will do anything to get it.
Yes. Very
Um,
much.
now, now, what I do love though, going back to the animation quality here, um, I really like that Spock is actually got a different skin tone to the humans here. I
Yes.
like that.
There's a slight green
Yep,
tinge to him.
green, yellow, yep. And you can see Christine is definitely that more pink color.
Yeah.
And I like that. And then, of course, she feels like she's gotten swindled because it doesn't immediately take hold.
Yeah.
Because they don't immediately go for a roll in the hay,
Yes.
she gets pissed.
Yes. And I love this
And
moment.
And hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
Yes, because she
Yeah.
basically she karate chops him and then
Yes.
turns a phaser on him.
One, well, okay. The thing is that in between that, Spock has now decided that he's fallen in love,
Yes.
which is great. But that's the problem. Christine, if she had waited 2 more minutes,
Yes.
but she drops Mud with one chop, just boom,
Yeah.
and then gets her phaser back. And what we don't have the screenshot of here is she shoots at him.
Yes.
Like, yeah, okay, it's on stun, but the
But
look on her face, if looks could kill, he would be dead.
yes, but what happens here is he drops what he has remaining of the love crystals near an AC
Mm-hmm.
vent, and the love crystals then get scattered throughout the ship.
Yep. And then chaos. Yes.
But yes,
But yeah. So the thing that I didn't have a picture of here, um, they show a really lovely interior of a shuttle, 2 shots of it,
yeah.
which, my God, the thing looks cavernous,
Mhm.
right? For the first time in all of original series, it looks cavernous,
Yeah.
and I love it. But Harry steals the shuttle, goes down to the planet below with Christine,
Yes.
not planning on hurting her,
Nope.
just using her as bait and convenient
Yeah.
human shield,
Yes.
and plans on leaving her there, taking a shuttle, and doing whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and then as they are on the planet below, Spock is going bonkers.
Yes.
He has been umming and eyeing on the bridge, which is totally unlike him. He sounds uncertain, for crying out loud,
Yeah.
and reports that he's feeling emotions,
And obviously
which,
you've got Kirk and Bones both like, huh?
what?
Which is
You're what?
brilliant.
But now Spock and this whole my love thing gets Maress to look over at him like, the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who are you and what did you do with Spock?
Yes. Which I love
Yeah.
in this part with the animation of Spock is you can actually see the emotion that is on his
Yes.
face, and it's
Yeah.
brilliant. It's really
It's
well done.
perfect.
And
And
obviously
even Arek's whistles, by the way. That's the other thing that I love, is that the two newbies on the bridge
yes.
know that something is wrong.
Yes.
Meanwhile, all Sulu is trying to deal with is, hey, wait a minute, we're in a binary system. There's a planet. I'd like to not crash into anything.
Yeah.
So he keeps his head down.
Yes, yes. He stays out of the whole conversation, but it's
Smart boy.
yes, it does feel very, very, very smart. But we've obviously then they realise that Christina has been taken, and they decide to go down to the planet below, and we get the lovely part between Bones and Kirk, and he's like, "Are you sure it's wise to
Is
send
it
Spock down?" And he's Kirk's like I can
try
stop
to
him.
stop him?
Yes, and we have that lovely moment of real friendship between Spock
Mm-hmm.
and Kirk, which I really like
Oh God,
because
yes. The
he
moment they
puts
land on the planet, because they've been affected by it too.
yes, but obviously they're having a bromance.
But yes, but realize, try and stop him. He's not. Kirk is not wrong.
Yeah,
This this is the guy who, we have the menagerie, and we have him to thank for the menagerie. He does the same thing with the Kolinar ritual,
yeah,
and then when he decided he needed to mind meld with a whale.
yes, yes. So there's
Okay,
there's a lot.
dude does not give up.
Yes.
But
But
I
obviously
mean, there's worse things than a love potion, at least
yes,
on the ship at
yes,
first.
yes,
Because the thing is, yes, they're in a better mood. Yes, they are in a more receptive mood at first. They don't immediately lose track of the mission,
yeah,
which I love. That it doesn't completely distract them at first.
yes,
until it starts getting bad.
And then you have that moment with Scotty
Yep.
dancing around the bridge, which I find it so funny.
Scotty and Morass
Morass, yeah, they were both
on
dancing,
the
which
bridge.
I find it just
And
so funny.
I swear it's like the naked time all over again.
Yes. The only thing that slightly bugs me around Morass is the fact that she purrs so much, and I know that's them trying to it's for the character, but
To reinforce that she's a cat, yes.
yeah, I don't necessarily feel that reinforcement is needed. Um, but
No, but
I know why they do it. It just slightly
yeah.
bugs me.
It's so that um I think that was also like having known some voice actors and not being good at it myself. I know that there are verbal cues that you use to get into character.
Yeah,
And I think that purring was the one for Majel with Morass.
yeah, possibly. It just it
Um,
I found it very distracting for the character.
very much
Um,
so.
but yeah, and then obviously we get back to the planet where Kirk and
Where,
Spock have beamed down. They are
but
trying to find Christina
the
and
thing that's
Mud.
happening on the planet that I love is Christine has a clue about Mud.
Yeah,
And what does she do? She gets him monologuing.
yeah,
Because the thing about Mud is that Harry Mudd's biggest fan is Harry Mudd.
yes, ever so slightly. Yes,
And therefore, when she gets him to show off how brilliant he is, how creative he's going to have to be,
yes,
how much he's going to use his wits to get out of this unfortunate situation, um, she gets him monologuing, and
yeah,
that is lovely.
yes,
So, and then as Kirk and Spock and the two of them are all getting together, suddenly I was reminded of Galaxy Quest when the eye opened.
yes, and we
Because
get the
have
worm monster, as I like to refer to it in my
yes,
notes,
yes,
which
we
is
have the worm monster and and then the crocodile monster.
yes,
But have you have seen Galaxy Quest? I hope, right?
a very long time ago.
We
Like
need to fix that.
we're talking like 20 years ago. It's been a while.
Galaxy Quest is the best Star Trek movie.
Everybody says that. Everybody says that.
Yeah, and everybody's right.
Yes.
Uh,
But
but
yeah, so we
this
have
is
obviously that scene.
what Garignac was referencing, the rock monsters.
Yes.
Now, um, the thing is that while all of them are under the effect of the love potion, except Harry, they're still aware of what's going on around them.
Yeah.
They're still aware of, what to do. They're just very loose about it and much less militaristic about it, right? And that's what I love. Now, of course, it will get worse. And I have in my notes, I wonder if the rock monster is male or female. They could have hit it with a love crystal. And then later I have a note. Oh, wait, they did.
Yes. Yes. So this
But
is how they kind of resolve the situation with the rock monster and the crocodile monster is
yes.
they basically throw love potions, love crystals at it. Um
Yep.
yeah. I was like, oh, okay, but that's a very simple
Yes.
way to solve the problem.
But hey, it worked.
It works, it works. But yes, and then we have that moment between Christina and the Spock, which I find
Yes.
adorable. And he's going, oh
Yes.
my darling, and I'm just like, oh my goodness,
And she's
no,
like, this is all I've wanted my entire life.
yes,
Like, this is she wants this so badly and knows it's fake and knows it's bullshit,
yeah,
but
yeah,
she still wants it.
yes,
And then honestly, my favorite moment that's upcoming here after they save themselves is when we see Scotty hanging over the bar on the bridge,
yes,
right behind Morass.
yes, and they've got a
A
hangover,
hangover to shame all previous
very
hangovers.
much, very
And I
very much,
did not touch one drop of
yeah,
scotch. And I'm just sitting there like,
It's got to be.
Scotty, we
It's got
are
to be bad.
kindred spirits.
It's got
I
to. It's got to be
feel
bad.
you. Yeah, I feel you so much.
Yes. And then obviously we
And
find out that the
then,
crystals give them an intense
well,
dislike for the other person
yes.
as
Oh
it's
well,
wearing off.
actually, what I love is that Morass right after that, obviously also feeling hungover herself. Not so loud, you fool.
Yes.
Have I mentioned I love sassy communications officers?
Yes, yes, a little bit,
Good.
but yeah, I did like that. And then obviously we then get the we get Mud, and he's going, "Oh, they're gonna send me to a re what was it,
A rehabilitation facility. Yep.
rehabilitation unit," and he's like, "I wonder if it'll work this time." I'm just like,
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah,
it's again, this they nail the ending.
yes,
Um, but yeah, this episode has a lot more meat on the bone than Shore Leave.
yes. So
In
how
part
many?
because of the charisma of Harry Mudd
Yeah,
and the the interplay between the characters. I think this isn't this show is carried by its dialogue more than its action.
yeah,
Even though, okay, don't get me wrong, I love that Christine just she's ticked off, she's angry, she drops Mud with one hit.
yeah,
Does not play.
yeah,
Um I love the action, but it's the dialogue that carries this whole series.
yeah,
And this episode has such great dialogue,
yeah,
you know, whether it's Mud, whether it's Scotty, whoever, it's great. Heck,
yeah.
Spock, when he's falling in love from the love potion, love crystals, Christine's sweet summary. Like, come on.
I love the Christina and Spock ship. I am 100%
Yes.
on board that ship, but this part it did make me cringe just a little bit. So,
Really?
how many points are you giving it?
Oh, this is 4 out of 5 Muds.
Okay. You got me. You got me. It is very much Mud.
Yep.
Mud is
It has to
the
be.
scoring system, and it's a really cringy image with him, and he's like,
Yeah, it's the
yeah, yeah.
with the really bad comb over. Yep.
Yes. So my
Yeah.
score is a little bit less. It gets 3.
Okay.
Purely because
Fair.
there are a couple of red flags in it that I don't like. Um,
Okay.
there are a few points where I think it could have been better, but it's not a bad episode. I think it's
Not
very
at
much
all.
it's yeah. I don't think it's a bad episode. I think it's one of the better episodes.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah,
It's a very strong episode, and I really feel that part of the reason it's so strong is because there's continuity and it's all earned.
yeah,
The only new element, really, aside from the planet, which is whatever, right?
hmm
The only new element is the love crystals,
yeah,
and even those aren't so new in Trek because they're very similar to um, some ideas that were cut from City on the Edge of Forever and Mud's Women.
okay,
All right, so um, it's definitely not unearned. I'm gonna say
yeah.
I am looking
But
to
yeah,
see because
it wasn't a bad episode, and there were points where I I enjoyed it. But I did get ever so slightly frustrated. Um, but there
yes,
are something that I did actually want to comment on because this episode there is a bit of an error in the colouring because there's a moment
okay,
where Spock is wearing a red shirt
hmm
on the planet when they are fighting.
you're right. It is a blink and you'll miss it.
It was, but I was like, oh, that's that's
Yes,
it. And in the
yes,
previous episode, they instead of the trousers being black, it's grey. So
yes.
there are a couple of things that I think, oh, but it's enjoyable. I'm really enjoying the animated series. I think
Hmm.
it's a series for everyone. You do not need to
Yes,
be a long-standing trekker or trekkie. You pick
yep.
whichever version
And
you want
I
to be.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying seeing the characters that
absolutely.
I have enjoyed in Strange New Worlds, seeing them in the different lights.
Hmm.
But
Yes.
yeah,
Now,
so
one thing I do want to comment on, um, going, this is more meta commentary now, getting out of the episodes. I want to say, you know, thank you to Chris, to Cam, to everybody who's been commenting. You know, and I love some of your comments here, like commenting on the Infinite Vulcan from the last episode. That it's so much like Spock's brain. I absolutely, and yes, you're abs, and yeah, we all called it out that Uhura being, you know, uh, more than a glorified telephone operator.
yeah,
Yes, and again, I love the fact that yeah, back in the '70s we had a lot of the Magics and Megas 2 commenting on Salem witch trials. It was absolutely um in the zeitgeist. So
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
and yeah, I I do want to thank you for that. Everybody who's been commenting, everybody who's been with us on this ride. Um, and now that we're here, now that we're at Shore Leave in Mud, you know what? I'm going to ask a silly question for our commentators. Who's your favorite Alice in Wonderland character? For
Okay.
sure, for Once Upon a Planet. And for Mud, oh, just tell me your favorite Mud moment.
Yeah.
Whether it's from this episode, whether it's from I Mud, whether it's from Mud's Women, or whether it's from the Discovery episodes where he's been in.
I'm gonna check that it's definitely Discovery. That it's not Jones. Let me just check.
No, it's. I know that he was played by Rainn Wilson in one of the new series.
Yeah, I'm like
So yeah,
pretty sure. Because
yep.
it was such a good
So
it,
actually,
it's a different
hold on.
style, but it definitely
Yeah,
it definitely appears, I'm pretty sure. Um,
yeah,
let's have a quick check. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's definitely him because I'm now
yes.
concerned that I've been blurring the lines between Jones and Mudd.
Oops. Yeah, yeah. Also, interesting thing that Cam commented on being descended from some of the accused witches from the witch trials. That I would love to know more about that. We need to get him on a podcast to talk about it. Uh, but absolutely, you know, whatever comments you have, we love them,
Yeah,
and all
and
the
I
engagement.
I try
Share
and
it with your
respond to
friend.
every
Yes.
comment. So
Yep. And I prefer to do it this way
yes, yes,
because this way, we get to talk about it and appreciate the people who are with us the whole way.
yeah,
And also, I just want to call out, and say thank you to the people on the Obsidian Fleet Discord who have commented on the episodes as they've come out, both these and the Doctor Who.
yeah. It's
Um,
it's it's been
you
fun.
know,
It's definitely fun
yes,
doing this weekly because
yes,
it's opening bridges, and as I always say to the game masters, this is not just us. If you guys have an
yep,
idea or you have a theme and you want to come on, let me know. We will find a time. My
yes,
time is getting ever so slightly limited at the moment.
yep,
Because I don't have a co-parent. From like 2 weeks time, I think it is, or even less.
yeah.
And I do have a slight side quest at the moment, which is going to be I'm helping Nerdy Up
Well,
North run their Women of Nerdy Culture podcast.
I saw that, and
I'm
yes, the Women
excited.
of Nerdy Culture.
I'm excited.
Can you give us some details on that?
Well, there isn't much details at the moment because we're very, very, very much in the planning stage of it. But it's basically going to be discussing women that are in comic books, television shows, movies, wrestling. So yes, so it's gonna be good, and I've got a couple of ideas. about what we're going to do. I just need to catch up properly with Paul because it's been a busy week for all of us. And just start
Absolutely.
doing it. And I've got a couple of episodes lined up. And a couple of people have approached me, so that should be good.
I'm very glad to hear that
I'm
because,
excited.
yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna
that
be a fun
sounds like
one.
an amazing opportunity.
Yeah,
And yeah, we need more. We need more spotlighting there because so often we forget that science fiction and nerd culture was founded by women and has been shepherded by women.
yeah. But
You know, that
we get a lot.
Frankenstein was written by Mary Shelley.
But
That,
we get a lot of abuse.
you know, yeah,
And this is
unfortunately, yes.
yes, and this is kind of what I think the first couple of the episodes are maybe gonna be discussing how those type of things. And I
Yeah.
have an episode for Star Trek that's lined up. Talking
Luce,
to talking to
let's see,
someone.
Star Trek, Lucille Ball, DC Fontana. Yeah.
It'll be lots of different things. But yes, so I'm hoping to do more things like that, but I also want to do more things like that here.
Yeah.
I wanna do more things on writing, more things on what's going on around the
Absolutely.
fleet. So yes, so there's lots and lots of things that we want to do. But it's not just about us; it's about the community as a whole. So I'm
Exactly.
hoping that
We wouldn't we wouldn't it, we wouldn't be as successful if it wasn't for the community and the support we have
yeah,
from
yes,
our friends and co-writers and so on.
yes,
And you know, I would watch the animated series 100 times over, and I would and I would drag you into it anyway.
yeah,
But I love doing these reviews because we get to share it with others.
yeah,
And again, it's the thing that makes this hobby so interesting and so great is getting to share so much with the people around us.
yeah.
So,
And
thank you to you, Beth.
I love the fact
Thank
that
you to everyone.
you're welcome. But I do love the fact that actually our last episode inspired Chris to watch
But
at least he watched the Magus 2 episode. I know he at least
yep,
watched that because
yep,
he was commenting on that. So yeah, so
good.
it's good, and hopefully I might persuade him to come on one of the podcasts.
That would be fun.
Yes,
That would be
it
fun.
would be a fun episode, but I think we'll leave that here for now.
Yep, absolutely.
And we'll see everybody next time, and keep writing, stay safe.
Yes. Yep.
Bye.
See you all next time. Be safe. Be well.